Pete Dougherty from the Times-Union was the first to report the story last night that the Albany Devils are leaving after this season is over, and they're heading to Binghamton. So after 7 seasons of the Albany Devils playing at the Times-Union Center, they are bolting, and I'm pretty sure they just signed an extension here not long ago. So it kind of caught me a little off guard when Pete broke this story, and he joins us. He is the one that gets credit for breaking this story first. So, Pete, congratulations on that. But I know you probably feel like the rest of us. You hate to see a team leaving Albany. Good morning.
Good morning. First of all, you're not calling for my Pro Bowl pick?
No, I'm not. I'm not even watching. I'm not watching the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, as I go through this, there's the reporter in me, has to get the story out there and stuff like that. But then you start realizing the lives it affects, and even my own. I mean, I love covering pro hockey. It's been a blast I've done it for 20 to 24 years. We've had it here, and I've really enjoyed it. And that's going to change next year. I think there's going to be some front office people for the Devils looking for jobs. Players have to relocate. And I guess the people I feel worst for, there's a core of diehard fans that really, really love this team and love pro hockey here. Unfortunately, it just wasn't a big enough base to sustain it. They couldn't get enough casual fans out there. They couldn't grow the diehard base. But those are the people you feel bad for, because they have 18 home dates, and they hope some playoff dates after that. But then there's no more pro hockey in Albany, at least for the foreseeable future, and that's sad. I'm disappointed for them. I'm disappointed for myself. Disappointed for the people that work for the Devils. They're going to have to go out and find new jobs now.
Pete, did the timing of this surprise you? I mean, when you look at it, look at the attendance and go, I get it, but didn't they just sign an extension?
Yeah, but those extensions really don't mean anything, Roger. It's a 3-year agreement, but they have an opt-out clause in it. And my understanding is the Devils have exercised the opt-out clause every year, and then they reinstate it. It's a mechanism that it keeps the Devils gives the Devils some options if they need it, but having a 3-year contract assures the Devils they have a place to play if things don't work out elsewhere. Well, they got a sweetheart offer from Binghamton. Don't blame Albany County for this or the city for this. There's no way that they should have tried to match the offer that Binghamton is giving the Devils. They're going to take a bath next year, and the taxpayers are going to wind up paying for it down there. So I don't blame them, but I certainly don't blame the Devils for taking it. It's basically a deal that frees them of financial risk, and you can blame the Devils for wanting to do that. So
Binghamton's going to be paying New Jersey a boatload of money here as part of this deal, right? So they will. If no one shows up to these games in Binghamton, New Jersey's still going to get their money.
Absolutely. As I reported in the story, the figure is $2 million is what Binghamton is paying New Jersey. And now the current front office staff of the Senators will run the operation, so they can do what they want in terms of starting times and promotions and all that kind of stuff. But this is a franchise that's lost had 7 figures in losses last year. More than $1 million in losses. Binghamton draws slightly better in Albany, but not a whole lot better. I'm not sure they even have the corporate support that they might be able to get in Albany. So they're going to take a bath that way, too. Even if their building is small, I mean, they average about 3,400 fans, but the building only seats about 4,600, so they're already playing 80% of capacity. If you sell out the building for every game, I still don't think they can recoup what Albany lost last year, and on top of the $2 million they're paying New Jersey. I don't see how they can do it. They obviously feel like the Senators are important to that community, and maybe they are. I felt like the Devils are important to this community, but there are, as we discussed many times, Roger, many other options here for the sports entertainment dollar with Siena and UAlbany basketball, Union and RPI, Division I hockey. I mean, there's other places to go to get entertainment, and so the Devils are competing against that, and it was difficult. Binghamton has BU down there with basketball, but not very good basketball at that, but not much else. So maybe they felt it was very important to the fabric of that community. Where here, there's just no way. I don't believe that Albany County should have tried to match the offer that the Devils are getting from Binghamton.
And that's the bottom line here, folks. It's the $2 million. Pete Dougherty with us. He broke the story that the Albany Devils are leaving after the season is over. So it's a $2 million deal that Binghamton will give to New Jersey. This has very little to do, Pete, then with we're going to Binghamton because that area loves hockey, and they're going to sell out the arena, and they're going to put so many more fans in there. It's really not that.
Not really. I mean, maybe some optimistic city council people down there feel like they're going to do that, but Devils don't really care from that standpoint. Now they're free to the financial risk of it. You know, I'm sure they'd like to see the building filled, but even if they fill the building, they're not going to. I don't see how they're going to turn any kind of profit. The thing that's a little surprising, I guess, from the Albany standpoint, is they had first-class facilities here. Still have for the rest of this year. The locker room is NHL caliber. The training room and weight room is outstanding. There's the proximity to Newark here. I mean, Binghamton's not too far from Newark either, but it's, they could get players back and forth pretty quickly. They're giving up that. There's no way that they can match the facilities that they have here, basically because the building's so small they can't, there's limited space where they could have the locker room. I've not seen the home locker room there recently, but I've seen the visiting locker room, and it's really kind of a dump in my mind. And I don't know if they could have the space that they give the Devils here. And Lou Lamoriello, when he was here, to his credit, he liked that stuff. He didn't care if no one was in the building. He wanted his prospects to be developed. He wanted his players to be taken care of, and they were taken care of pretty well. Just that the new ownership of New Jersey, when they came in 2013, a little more bottom line conscious. They want to win Stanley Cups and develop players and all that stuff, but they own the AHL franchise now, so they want to make sure they try to at least, if they don't break even, at least not lose more than $1 million operating the AHL team, and that's what they were doing.
Pete, in your estimation, and you might be the most qualified person to answer this question in the Capital Region, why didn't the community ever fully embrace this Devils team? Was it because they didn't win enough? Was it ticket prices? Help me out here.
Zach, that's a really good question. It's one I've tried to examine from time to time, and I just think there's so many factors. Some of them, the emergence of U-Albany and Union Hockey, Albany basketball and Union Hockey, I think had a little bit to do with it. They had they drew pretty well in the 90s. They were fourth in the 95, 96 year after they won the Calder Cup. They averaged 6,100. But right about 2000, New Jersey suddenly stopped supplying good players, and there was a run of really bad seasons. I think that started to chip away at the fan base a lot. They brought the Hurricanes in, and they actually improved their attendance a little bit, having the Hurricanes here. And then the Devils had a bad connotation in my mind. People just remember how bad the Devils were, the AHL Devils were in the early 2000s, and then the Devils come back in 2010 because the River Rats moved to Charlotte, and I just think there was just like a bad vibe with that word Devils, and I think they were lucky to come back. There's a number of little things I think it would have helped to keep the River Rats name, and Walter Robb gave them that option. They wanted Devils on it. I just think it's better in the minor leagues to have your own identity, to have your own nickname. I think the River Rat thing would have helped that. These 5 o'clock Saturday games, I think, are ridiculous. I mean, 3 out of every 4 people I talk to say they'd rather have them at 7 o'clock. So if that's the case, they have 12 Saturday games a year. Instead of playing all 12 at 5 o'clock, play 8 or 9 at 7 and 3 or 4 at 5. And then you kind of satisfy both groups there, but they play them all at 5. I think it costs them 1,500 fans a game playing at 5 o'clock on Saturday. So, ticket prices, they could be a little bit lower. The concession prices could be lower, but they're like 4th or 5th lowest in the league. I mean, they're certainly comparable to other places in the league. Something else I discovered a couple weeks ago, I took a trip over to Springfield, and they have free parking for their fans. As long as when they leave the parking garage, and it's similar to it's a downtown arena, and it's got a parking garage. When you leave the arena, if you scan your ticket, your parking is free. You don't pay for it, and I just think that's an incentive. I mean, you pay $8 for a Devils game to park in the garages around Times Union Center, and that's pretty steep on top of the ticket prices, on top of expensive concession prices, and what I feel are inconvenient game times. And you're playing at 5 o'clock, and they're almost trying to force you to eat at the concession stand. And it's prohibitive, so they just say, "Well, forget it. I'm just not going to go." And I think that happens. Often. It's just, it's something. 3 years ago, I did about a 15-minute video on trying to explore some of the reasons, and those are a lot of the things that we mentioned. I don't know if there's any one thing, to be honest with you. I think the best thing that the only way hockey might succeed here is if you had a 7,000 or 8,000 seat building in the suburbs, like Latham, like maybe where Latham Farms is, maybe down Delmar, somewhere close to the highway. I think it's more of a commuter community, more of a suburban community, and the building was too big, and so people knew they didn't have to get their season tickets. They could come any time and always be able to find a seat. I'd love to see a 7,000 or 8,000 seat building in the suburbs, maybe something Siena could use as well as a hockey team, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's the only thing that probably could have made hockey work here, and I'm not even sure if that would have done it.
And Walter Robb, back in the day, the former owner of the Albany River Rats, always talked about doing that, and it just never materialized. Finally, Pete, who will fill the void in the Times Union Center when the Albany Devils leave, and will it be hockey?
Won't be hockey. I'm started a big push on Twitter for pro bowling. I think we need to get Pete Weber and Parker Bone in here, but I guess there's no pro bowling franchises, so I guess we have to throw that out. I honestly don't know, Roger. We were talking about it in the office last night, and any guess is probably a legitimate guess, other than I've been told by sources that it will not be hockey. They're looking at something else to bring in, but I don't know how they can replace 38 home dates. I don't know any league out there at the minor league level has 38 dates, short of like the ECHL in hockey. I don't even think they have that many dates. I think they're 34 home dates. So I don't know what the plans are. My understanding, it would probably be a couple of weeks, maybe a month before we really learn anything about that. We're not going to find out. They're going to make this official on Sunday at the board of governors meeting. They just have to approve the request to relocate the franchise. I don't see any problem there, but I don't think there's going to be any announcement by Bob Belber, people in Albany County, that what's going in there. But they are negotiating something, as I understand it, to bring something in and replace it, and hopefully it will excite the fan base, but it will not excite the hockey fans because they're going to miss pro hockey.
Pete Dougherty, I appreciate a few minutes.
Nice job, Pete.
Nice job breaking the story. It's not something that I think anyone in the area wants to hear, that we're losing a franchise, but nice job on breaking the story, and we'll see what Bob Belber has to say once this all becomes official on Sunday. And enjoy the weekend and watch the Pro Bowl.
I will not watch the Pro Bowl. I'll be at the AHL All-Star game because one of the things I have to do is continue to chase the story, but I think I can bypass the Pro Bowl for once. We will talk to you next Friday, though. Got to get that Super Bowl pick in.
Yeah, absolutely.
One game ahead of you now.
I know. Good luck. I'll talk to you next week, Pete. Thank you, Pete Dougherty,
Roger.
from the Times Union.